Firstly, good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our virtual panel discussion. Today, we would be discussing navigating iOS user acquisition in 2025, mastering privacy changes, and optimizing growth. Well, my name is Sethilvel, and I'm the Director of Client Services at Newton, and I will be moderating the session today. So as we move into 2025, which is just a month from now, the iOS landscape continues to change and evolve rapidly, largely driven by Apple's enhanced privacy initiatives. To discuss this very topic today, we have been joined by a distinguished panel of experts who will share their insights and strategies and help us navigate this challenge as we move into 2025. So we'll get started with, Jatin, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself first?
Sure, yeah. Hi, hello everyone. My name is Jatin. I lead sales and marketing for mDSP. We are a full funnel programmatic solution, one of Apple's entities, and we look after everything from user acquisition to retargeting in the programmatic environment. And we have a key focus on iOS because one of the platforms which powers our backend was one of the scan first platforms, and we do have a good presence in iOS because of that. And yeah, happy to share any insights that we have on that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jatin, so much. Sudhanshu, you want to go next?
Yeah, Antel. Hi everyone. I'm working with Fibe as an AVP performance marketing, and I handle all the performance marketing channels, including retention part. Thank you for inviting me, Antel, and Apple team. Happy to share insights. Yeah. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We also have Aman with us from Games 24/7. Aman, a quick round of
Yeah,
introduction for
hi everyone. Aman this side from Game Studio Go 7. I'm working for RummyCircle and leading programmatic and iOS vertical. Happy to share all the insights that we have on iOS with the team and even on programmatic side. So yeah, looking forward for the discussion.
Wonderful. Welcome, Aman. And lastly, we also have our very own Prashanth. Prashanth, quick introduction from your side.
Sure, Senthil. Hey everyone, myself Prashanth. I lead India growth at Newton. Newton is an iOS growth platform focusing majorly on Apple Search Ads, App Store optimization, as well as custom product pages. We've been in the space for the past, I think, couple of years now, seeing a very good growth in the space, and happy to add my insights to this call.
Wonderful. Thank you, Prashant. So yeah, now with the introductions being done, I think it's time to deep dive. So we'll get started by exploring the fundamentals of the changes that Apple has brought from a privacy angle, right? The global trends specifics, it's evolving, specifically in India, and with the introduction of ATT has made things a lot more challenging when it comes to user acquisition. And what we'll do is we'll get started by understanding how marketers have adapted to this change, right? So my first question would be for Jatin. So Jatin, from a programmatic perspective, how has Apple's privacy changes altered the way you approach user acquisition campaigns from a programmatic lens?
Right. So for us, especially as a programmatic platform, right, we rely a lot on transparency, and hitting the right user at the right time. So it has definitely impacted our targeting capabilities. We have had to resort to aggregated data instead of, we don't have an IDFA parameter now, which used to be the case before scan. So we have to rely a lot on aggregated data, what we already have. But the good thing is with, like 17 years of learnings which Apple has, we have a lot more contextual insights. We know, which say and which IP address to target, which sort of devices to target, which locations to target. I think that makes it slightly easier for us, being an ad tech platform in the industry for about 17 years. So yeah, I think one was the reduced targeting capabilities. That's definitely has been a concern, and that's what we have been trying to tackle through our own data management platform as well, to try and figure out, what is the sort of aggregated data we have at the back end. Secondly, as a user, I think it has been very positive that you have to provide consent. You have to ask for consent before asking for data and all that. From a user point of view, and user experience point of view, I think it has been really good. We are moving towards an overall cookieless future, I think, starting with iOS. So yeah, but as a platform, I think it is slightly difficult. And anyone who has the data, who has the tech right now, I think will win in this environment.
Wonderful. So you also saying, Jatin, apart from the learnings that Apple has, that the market also today has started to accept that, a lot of the personalizations wouldn't be possible, but you will have to kind of work at an aggregate level, and the market is looking for
Right.
players to kind of support them in this
Yeah.
perspective. Oh,
Aggregate, contextual, yeah. I think all those things really matter right now.
okay, okay, wonderful, wonderful. So, Prashant, why don't you help me understand with Apple's increased focus on privacy, how has the functionality and effectiveness of ASA evolved, Apple Search Ads evolved specifically?
Right, Senthil. So, with the introduction of this one, right? So, app tracking transparency that came in with iOS 14.5, granular data on users from Apple Search Ads for on iOS specifically is not available right now. So, it's moved from more of a granular kind of an approach to more of an intent-based approach, which basically is focused on targeting users basis the keywords that they're searching on the App Store. This makes it a very intent-based targeting. You're targeting users at the lower part of the funnel where they've come to the App Store searching for a specific app or searching for a specific keyword. You're targeting users there, and this inventory, which is the search results inventory on the App Store, it's where advertisers are also spending a bulk of their budgets as well. Right. We also have creative plays that have come into App Store now. Given that again, granular data is not available, you can also have a creative play that comes in with custom product pages on App Store, which again advertisers can again bank on to probably boost the engagement. Basically, you're targeting users again basis what keywords you're searching for, but you're actually changing the in-app screenshots to correlate with what the users are searching for. This improves the engagement, also improves the conversion rate, not only for installs, but also lower funnel conversions like purchases, let's say anything else, transactions, etc. Now, with all of this in place, privacy with ATT that has come in, yes, it's definitely affected how we can target users. But given said on all this, Apple Search Ads still remains one of the most effective channels that you can use to target users, especially for iOS.
No, I can only imagine how important this particular channel is and will continue to be with, IDFA going outside the picture and, definitely a platform where you have high intent users, right, becomes like a backbone for any iOS acquisition, right? So I can only imagine how important this particular channel is. And now, Aman, a quick question for you. So, we've known each other for some time now, and I also know how data heavy you guys are as an organization, right? And I would love to understand from you, how has your approach towards user acquisition changed? Are there any specific challenges your team has faced in adapting to the ATT restrictions of late?
Yeah, there are a couple of restriction on post ATT prompt, right, which came after 14.5 version of iOS. So typically, like with lesser data, you can make lesser calls, and which are not even not very accurate to what you can do on Android, right? So it becomes very tricky. Now we have like just after users opting for it, we have like we have like 10-12% of the data at the overall level, and that 20% data should be enough to make a decisive call, right? So that part is very tricky, but yeah, we with multiple modeling, we are trying to solve for it. But yeah, it's more of like tools like SSOT, which will help us get more insights on that. Even the scan network, right? Right. While doing a cohort level analysis, like you can't get a user level data, but you can get a cohort level data. That's where we are trying to solve for that. But yeah, again, it's a very tricky, and everyone has a very different view on attribution currently, right? Post this ATT change. So yeah, more
Wonderful.
more more of I'll call out some focus areas that we are trying to solve by, but it's focusing on first party data. Like RummyCircle has been in the industry for a long time now. It's 17 plus year again, same like Apple. So what we have seen here, we are very data heavy company, and we have a lot of first party data, and that's where we rely a lot. For new users, it's more of showing the prompt at the right time. Let the user adapt with the app, right? Like, and then show the prompt so that the opt-in rates increases.
Right.
That's small changes that we are trying to do so that we can get better data from the users. But yeah, also respecting the privacy of the users as well.
Wonderful. I mean, makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. And Sudhanshu, a question for you. With the post-pandemic time, right? I think fintech was one of the verticals which saw a significant boom with COVID, and it continues to boom till today, right? And it's a very hot space. A lot of new players coming in, a lot of challenging it's a challenging environment, right, with government regulations. And now to top this off, we also have the iOS restrictions from a privacy angle,
Right.
which right. So I would love to understand from you, how has these changes influenced your user acquisition strategy, specifically in the fintech space, and what are the top challenges that you are facing?
Yeah. So Senthil, fintech space has grown rapidly after mobile first habits and post-pandemic. Mobile is now the primary way of user access financial services. Even in a survey, we have seen the iOS users specifically, 80% of the user now using the banking service through mobile. So, yeah, acquisition strategy has been shifted towards, creating seamless, user-friendly experience. App need to offer simple and, intuitive interface to keep the user engaged. However, we have seen after this privacy regulation changes, pose challenges with stricter data, privacy laws. Fintech company have had, need to rethink how they can collect the data and use the data. And
Mhm.
apart from the privacy, policy changes of from iOS, we have one more. Government RBI push. They have their own regulations on fintech. So fintech companies, need to focus on the transparency and build trust with the users and ensuring full compliance with the privacy norms. I think in short, while a mobile first strategy have powered fintech growth, data privacy changes have required a careful balance with the personalization and user consent. So,
Mhm. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense, Sudhanshu. Thank you so much. And now, before we actually dig in deeper into the strategies that marketers are employing to adapt to these challenges, right? We'll have a quick poll, wherein we would love to hear from our attendees as to, what are the challenges that they are grappling with in the Apple's privacy for iOS, specifically around user acquisition. So we'll open up a poll now, and the poll would be open for 30 seconds, and we'll take it from there. So have the last 10 seconds. So the poll closes in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, and have the answers. Okay, so we see an interesting skew over here. So I think one of the top challenges that our attendees are facing today is tracking attribution and measurement with limited data, uh, followed by balancing user privacy and personalized marketing, budget allocation for ASA programmatic and other channels, and optimizing conversions while adhering to privacy restrictions. And I think all of these do play an important aspect from a challenge perspective. But yeah, to get started with, I think the audience are in favor of the basic measurement to be in place, right? So you will improve what you can measure. So totally relate to the answers, wherein 60% has voted for the first option. So now what we will do is in the next section is we'll deep dive a little bit, and we'll try and understand from our marketers as to what are the strategies they are employing to adapt and to excel in this particular environment. Whether it's leveraging ASA, tackling attribution challenges, or optimizing conversions, right? So we'll get started with a question for Jatin. So, Jatin, what trends have you observed in how brands allocate budget post ATT? What are the approaches you've seen to balance personalization with user privacy?
All right. So see, I think I've definitely seen a change from say moving moving from say traditional channels to non-traditional channels, right? So there's a lot more focus on say any sort of direct to consumer app or channel you have, say be it influencer, be it any individual publisher, where you can actually sell out a contextual and personalized ad, right? So I'm say advertising on a fintech app per se, right? I'm personalizing my ad on that front to show on that app. And then it's up to the user. I think that intent becomes very important whether he converts on it or not. But there has been a definite change to non-traditional channels, and that's why I think programmatically we are seeing a lot of uptick. There has been a focus on incrementality, right? So if I have currently a base of, or I'm getting say 5,000 installs a week or 10,000 installs a week, if I add a channel, is that number actually going up to 11,000 or 12,000 or not? That incrementality becomes important. And that also, I think that answers your question on attribution, right? So when incrementality becomes a focus, you don't have to be that concerned about attribution. So you're not adding a channel which is, say, hijacking your attributions or is just taking credit for it. It's actually driving an uptick for you. So moving towards those channels, trying to explore newer channels where you're driving long-term value. I think that is what programmatic also does. That it builds a sustainable user base for you and not just drives an install burst for you. You're actually able to see that ROAS over a period of time. So yeah, I think incremental channels, long-term value driving channels, I think is something that I've seen the budget allocations move towards. And I think there has been a lot less focus on affiliates, at least over the last couple of years, what I've seen. And that's not just on iOS, that also happens on Android, the current environment.
Got it. Got it. So you are seeing a significant shift and the market favoring the programmatic channels over the affiliates at this point in time with all the
Yeah.
restrictions. Wonderful. So Prashant, why don't you help me understand with Apple's increased focus on privacy, how has the functionality and effectiveness of ASA evolved? And how has it reshaped the way you manage and optimize iOS campaigns within the App Store?
Right. So Senthil, given again that ATT is in place right now and you don't get granular data from users on iOS, what becomes super important here is to identify what keywords are working for you, especially on the search results inventory. What keywords are working for you? Identify what keywords are driving better conversions down the funnel. And there's two angles to it. So if you're looking at just top funnel, then advertisers can basically use the data that's available on the Apple Search Ads dashboard itself, where you have data that's available that is basically your keyword data, your impression share data that tells you how much impression share you're winning on a keyword level, which keywords are driving maximum installs for you guys, what is the CPIs that you're getting for those keywords, etc. But this is again a top funnel approach that you'll be taking. Right. You want to optimize one step further. One thing that you'll have to do is map both your Apple Search Ads as well as your MMP data, which is your mobile measurement partner. Right. Now, once you've mapped this, once you've understood basically what keywords are driving more conversions for you down the funnel, it can be different advertisers have different viewpoints, right? Some focus on driving more registrations, some focus on driving more, let's say, purchases, some for loan dispersals, for example, in Sudhanshu's case, etc. And probably for Aman, it might be first deposits that is there, right? So once you've tried and identified, right? So once you've mapped your ASA data as well as your MMP data, now you have a unified picture as to what is actually happening. Now, this gives you a more data-informed approach towards what you're doing on Apple Search Ads, enabling you to optimize towards keywords that not just are driving installs for you guys, but also lower funnel conversions, right?
Okay.
So that is how an ideal approach, especially on the search result side of it on Apple Search Ads is, right? And then you also have other inventories in place. You also have other aspects, that is your custom product pages that come into picture. On custom product pages, you can do your A/B testing. You can understand which custom product pages are working the best for you guys, which custom product pages are actually getting better engagement and driving more installs and lower funnel conversions as well. So one, yes, definitely map your ASA and MMP data and then understand what is working down the funnel. And second, also do your creative testing as well, do your A/B testing on other custom product pages and other things as well to understand which creatives are working better on Apple Search Ads. Right. So I think, which is why I think one of the features that we've also built out, I think here at Newton, is the unified dashboard, which basically enables advertisers to have a unified picture. Now it's a direct API pull between your ASA dashboard as well as your MMP and fetches data from both the sources, maps the data, and then in front of you, you have everything basically, right? So you have which keywords are driving better conversions, lower CAC, where is impression share at, how can you boost, how can you optimize your campaigns, and then basically it's a data informed decision that you take after that instead of just taking a shot in the dark.
Definitely, this is quite powerful, right? So wherein you're trying to marry the data from two different sources in a unified place, and you're able to take a more informed decision. Definitely, quite powerful, I would say. And Aman, my next question is for you. When the entire ATT came into place from Apple's side, a lot of the marketeers were trying a lot of permutation and combination as to when do we show the messages for the ATT prompt, right? So that they get better opt-in rates, right? So from your perspective, can you share some insights on the opt-in, opt-out rates that you've noticed specifically in the Indian gaming users? And
Uh,
how do you approach attribution challenges in absence of detailed user level data? And how's marketing different to an iOS user versus that of a non-iOS user?
Yeah. So opt-in rate generally in India is lesser than what it globally is. And for us, opt-in rates is around 16%, which is quite low. Like overall, in global world, I've seen opt-in rates to be at 20 to 30%, which is lower in India. And there are reasons for that. Like people don't understand privacy easily. Like they have an awareness gap as well there. Like it's not like even from a user perspective, if I install an app, I first say opt out. The reason
Mhm.
for it, this is we generally don't want to share the data. We don't know what's going with the company, right? And that's where awareness kicks in. Well, we need to make users aware that it's not that your all data will be shared to the marketer. It's just app related data will go to the users, that nothing apart from this. That's where I feel there's an awareness gap and people opt out directly on the app as soon as they see. Where we what we tried to do here is we delayed our ATT prompt slightly so that user can get the feel of the app. They can be more they can work on the app, they can install the app, have a feel of it, and then they can opt in or opt out, whatever they want to. So this slightly increases, but still, yeah, we do see opt-in rates to be lower, considering we are in a space of RMG. So a lot of questions that the users have that they don't have an answer for. Uh, as far as talking about the attribution challenges, right? Uh, Currently, we have all probabilistic data. We don't have a direct data here, and we have always worked with direct data on Android. We have like it's 95% of the user base on Android, so we are very skewed toward that kind of analysis, and that's where we like to make change. It slightly gets difficult where you have all probabilistic data. You have cohort level data and not user level data. That's where it gets tricky, but what we have seen is like incrementality test works the best, right? And it's not the MMP incrementality test. It's your own incrementality test. Like for example, if you scale a source, you see the incremental volumes. I know it's a time series data, and it can be just uh, it can show off results as well. But that's where you have to make that conscious call on what works the best. You need to give a lot of time. And what we have seen here is programmatic sources have helped us grow a lot. Like we have given them enough time to learn, and that's where post like we shouldn't make a call before 15 days. That's what we have seen with any sources, like very basic. And that's where we have seen volumes coming in, and best way to choose on attribution sizes, do your own probabilistic mapping, consider scan data, consider SSOT, and consider your own data as well, and then make a correlation out of it. That's the best.
Wonderful, Aman. Thank you so much. Makes a lot of sense. So, Sudhanshu, similar question for you. Does the average Indian mobile user actually care about opt-in, opt-out rates compared to that of a global user? And from a fintech lens, what strategies do you focus to acquire, engage, and retain iOS users?
So, as per my experience or the understanding in India, the average mobile app user is not concerned about opt-in, opt-out as users in Western countries. So, user here in are generally more focused on the app benefits. Okay, they so like convenience or the value or the offers, rather than detailed privacy settings. However, with the growing awareness or the upcoming regulations, the this particular attitude is slowly changing. Answering the second part of the question, strategy for acquiring the new user. The first thing is that we do ASA, and we majorly focus on the ASO. Apart from this, we majorly, as in fintech, we have seen that iOS users are often more willing to recommend apps as compared to the Android users. So we have a separate referral program for the iOS users, and lastly we do the influencer marketing, but we major focus on the ASA.
Wonderful. Makes sense. Sudhanshu, thank you. So, with so many privacy changes coming into play, I think it's time for the marketeers to be very agile at this point in time, right? It could be leveraging advanced tools on AI app, store discovery, ad attribution kit, combining organic and paid strategies. So let's try and understand a little bit deeper from our panelists today as to what is in store next, right? So Jatin, what are the key shifts in programmatic user acquisition strategies that you see that has been successful in India? For marketers in iOS space who are sacred, who are scared, I would say, to approach programmatic, what would be a good starting point for programmatic success?
I think the key shift is, and that is something that we are also adopting to at mDSP, is just being present at every channel. So what drives the programmatic marketing for us is for anyone, in fact, is that the learning, right? It's very key to actually get the learning from any sort of environment, any sort of device at any given point, right? So we are also trying to go beyond mobile devices. For example, now we have just plugged in CTV capabilities for us, right? So now we are trying to hit the user even on a TV or on a mobile. So I think being present omni-channel is quite important, right?
Okay.
Where does the user actually see the ad? Are we able to convert him at the right point or not? I think that is very important. So one shift programmatically has been being present omni-channel. That has become very important.
Mhm.
And I think then the at least see the performance marketer mindset, at least in the Indian ecosystem, has been to drive results at a very rapid pace, right? That if I'm paying $100, I know that I need results within a couple of days or 7 days at best. So as
Yeah.
Aman mentioned, that a programmatic learning cycle is, at least for it to be good enough, at least a 4 to 5 week cycle, right? To
Yeah.
just learn and create a cohort of users who are going to convert for you. So for them, I think keeping them patient and making them aware about the value that you're eventually going to drive out of these learnings, it's going to be massive. It's going to be exponential, right? So that quality user, that long-term user, also comes at a premium. If we were running an affiliate here, I think we can give you conversions, but I think those die off after the next 30 days. But here I'm giving you a user who has intent, who's going to stay with you and stick with you for a long time. So I think you have to pay a premium for that, and then I think you're going to drive returns also through that. So that
Mm.
sort of apprehension is about investing in those first 1.5 months where you're not seeing a lot of results. But I think that has to come with an understanding that I'm investing long term. So
Correct.
that's there. I think that's how most of my conversation also have been with Indian advertisers, and whoever has crossed that barrier of 1.5, 2 months has then stayed with us for years. And that's going to be the case in programmatic.
Yeah, so the initial 45 to 60 days sets the foundation, and it's
Yeah.
the premium you pay for getting quality users who give you better LTV basically at the end of the day,
Correct.
right? Right. So Prashant, from your lens, what are the trends that you foresee in ASA strategies with features like custom product pages now really catching up in Indian market? And how important is it to have an AI-driven approach to ASA and ASO as Indian mobile user base diversifies significantly?
Right. See, especially on the App Store when you have such few levers to play around with, right? Custom product pages especially becomes a very important thing for any advertiser to focus on, which is something that we've seen lacking across the board. There's very few advertisers who have tapped into this actually. Now, custom product pages majorly to give a brief, they come into, you can play it around it in two types. One is your seasonality based trends that come into picture, that is your Diwali or your Black Friday sale or let's say a cricket World Cup, etc, which are your seasonal trends that come into picture. And the second one that is coming into picture is your audience targeting, which focuses on, let's say, if you have any new product releases that might cater to any of the audience that you want to use, you can use actually custom product pages to actually call out that. Right.
Mhm.
Now, what this does basically is that it enables again a better engagement for users. It also You can also play upon the seasonality uptick. And also what this does is like it lowers down your CPIs as well. Now, how does AI come into all of this? Basically is that, see, there is tools out there out in the market, but one of the things that we've built on Newton is something called as Optics AI. Optics AI majorly helps advertisers reduce the turnaround time for delivering this creatives for custom product pages, especially. Right now, it reduces the dependency on the creative teams. There's a tool that we have come up with, which once you feed in some brand guidelines and also the messaging that you want to come out in the custom product pages, the tool automatically generates a bunch of custom product pages for you to do your A/B testing, which is very important on custom product pages. It's not necessary that, let's say you have a set of custom product pages, you can upload up to 30, right? So let's say you've uploaded 5 and you've started off with them. If they don't work, what is the next, right? So it's very important to have multiple custom product pages in place to understand which is working, which is not working, do your A/B testing, which visuals are working, which messaging is working, which is getting you better conversion rates, better engagement. Now, Optics AI on Newton actually helps you with that. Within a few seconds, you can actually have a bunch of custom product pages at your fingertips and utilize them for your A/B testing, etc. Right now, this is one. The second part of it is like now you've deployed this custom product pages. How do you analyze which custom product pages are working the best for you? How is it faring with respect to industry trends? Now, there's something on Newton called Telescope that we've built out, which majorly focuses on giving you an end-to-end picture of how your app is performing. And one of the things that is there on that report, the Telescope report that you can pull out from the platform, is a report that focuses on ensuring or giving you more data as to how your custom product pages are performing versus the industry benchmarks that are there, right? So you can, once you've uploaded your custom product pages, once they're functional, once you start getting impressions on those, once you start getting installs from those campaigns, we can actually pull out information and we can tell you exactly how is it when compared to an industry benchmark, how are these custom product pages functioning, which custom product pages are doing well, which is not doing well. Basically, now again, given that levers are very less on Apple Search Ads, this is one of the things that can actually help you optimize campaigns better. And custom product pages, we've seen in general, right, based on the campaigns that we're running, especially during the seasonality trends that come into picture, there's a huge uptick that comes in, especially on the engagement side, which again lowers down the CPIs and again drives more low funnel conversions as well.
Right, Prashant. So I think it's a similar sentiment that I've seen in the market as well. Right, one, the interest, and you're able to generate, let's say, like 30-35 CPPs in a matter of minutes. It really, reduces the time to market significantly for these advertisers, right? And definitely once with the addition of Telescope, if you're able to understand which particular CPP is performing and which is not, it saves them a lot of time and effort with regards to number crunching, etc., and helps them take a more informed decision, right? So I think that's exactly the sentiments that I've kind of personally observed in the market as well. So Aman, why don't you help me understand how can gaming apps balance paid acquisition with organic growth to stay competitive? With the context of scan, how do you approach campaign optimization to tweak your marketing strategies?
So to balance on organic and paid, definitely everyone wants to enhance their paid marketing so that they drive in volumes. As we know, organic users are users who are very high on intent. They have very high LTVs as well. We also want to maximize on organic. That will come with a paid strategy as well. When you show ads to user, after some time user organically comes from the platform, and where that's where ASA is very important to us. On ASA, the intent of the user is very high, and what we have seen is ASA user compared to other, it's as slightly lower to what organic is, but it's very good than other paid marketing users. So that's where we focus more on ASA. And the second part to this is like also show offer ads to users. So we had shown an offer to user where users get a free noise earbuds just by doing an in-app purchase on the app. So that went viral and we got a lot of organic bump because of that. And that had users who have high intent to play. Why I say that? Because we saw that the LTVs that we generate in the normal campaign, it was very high LTVs at D7 as well. So that's where you need to show offer ads to drive the paid marketing better, so that somewhere users come on the platform with a very good organic impact as well. The right way to balance both organic and paid marketing is very different for all channels. Like for us, we have put over a percentage of organic that we want to stay constant with. And that's where we decided on some attribution level changes as well, that will attribute probabilistic in such a fashion that it doesn't over attributes to all the channels. It maintains a balance between both. That's the key, I believe.
Makes sense, Aman. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you. And Sudhanshu, from your lens, what has been your experience in a 360 degree approach that combines discovery on App Store with programming? And has your KPIs evolved with the changing iOS ecosystem over time?
Yeah. So 360-degree approach combining App Store discovery and programmatic advertising has been the key for us. While ASO drives organic install by ensuring our app ranking well in search result and looks appealing. Programmatic ad help us to reach user beyond the App Store. So by targeting a specific segment based on their interest behavior, programmatic allows us to bring high quality traffic and scale the acquisition effort effectively. Regarding the KPIs, evolving KPIs in iOS ecosystem with the change of ATT, we had to adopt LTV. So earlier we tracked CPI, but now we are focusing on long-term user value since post-install tracking is limited. Retention metrics and then first-party data is crucial, and the last is the ROS.
Okay. It makes a lot of sense, Sudhanshu. So now we are heading into the last section of today's webinar. But before we get going, it would be nice to understand from our attendees as to what are their focus areas for 2025, right? And what is that they are prioritizing. So we'll have a quick poll now, and the poll will be open for the next 30 seconds. Can we have the poll? We have the last 10 seconds. And in 3, 2, 1, can we have the results? So leveraging advanced tools like an ad attribution kit and scan and combining ASA and ASO for a full funnel optimization has full weightage and seems to be the main key focus or the challenge that our advertisers are going to be navigating as they step into 2025. So with this, what we'll do is we'll enter the last section of today's webinar, wherein we'll try and understand from our panelists as to how do they look at 2025 and what's in store. So, Jatin, we'll get started with you. What's one of the key trends you believe that will dominate iOS user acquisition in 2025, and how are you preparing for it? Also, help us understand how do you see tools like ad attribution kit and scan evolving, and what are the opportunities do they present for marketers in India?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very interesting to see how things pan out with the AI attribution kit, because this is where we're getting into granularity, right? So we are gonna get, you know, the analytics are gonna get evolved. We're gonna understand more about where a particular user is actually coming from rather than, targeting just a cohort. So I think that granularity, that understanding at a user level is gonna definitely improve. And at an overall trend, I think what's happening with the Indian market as well as the penetration of iOS is going beyond tier one cities. We are seeing a lot more users within tier two. So understanding the local nuances and dynamics, trying to get, especially for marketers, trying to get into those channels and sources where they can actually tap into those users. Because if you go beyond tier one, it's a massive market, but also understanding where those users lie and who can get you those users becomes quite important. But I think, yeah, I think the key, the standout thing will be ad attribution kit, because Scan has very limited capabilities as of now. And with that attribution kit, I think the understanding of the user will get a lot better at an overall iOS level.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense, Jatin. Thank you. So, Prashant, you're an App Store expert, right? So, help me understand, how does integrating top of the funnel ASO and ASA efforts with lower funnel tactics within the ASA contribute to overall campaign success? Are there any emerging technologies or tools you particularly are excited for 2025?
Right, Santal. Right. So there's one thing that we've always focused on here, right, at Newton. One is that always educate advertisers that ASA and ASO go hand in hand, right?
Mhm.
There's one thing that we always push is that better your organics, right? Better the paid performance, as simple as that, right? So have your organics in place, focus on getting the ASO in place, ensure that things are optimized, ensure that you're hitting a minimum threshold of installs per day from your ASO activities before you start off with paid performance. We've seen a lot of advertisers trying to jump into direct the paid performance side of it. Once you have your ASO in place, it also improves your organic performance. Once your organic performance is improved, you can also start focusing on then driving your Apple search ads, right? So one thing that you see again on Newton is that from Telescope, you have your entire ASA and ASO journey mapped out. You can see exactly field by field, point by point, how is your ASO doing, how is ASA doing, placement by placement, keyword level. We also have, you'll also have a very good understanding as to what keywords are working for you guys, what keywords are not working, out of the entire gambit of, let's say, 1,000 keywords that you're bidding on. Which keywords are actually driving more conversions in terms of installs, also then down the funnel in terms of the end goal that you're targeting in terms of it can be transactions, loan dispersals, first deposits, anything of that sort. Right. But again, coming back to the point, ASA and ASO go hand in hand. Without that, without ASO in place, ASA will not perform. That is for sure. And there's also a correlation between ASO and ASA, right? So any keywords that are working really well in ASA, they can also be used to optimize an ASO side of it. Any keywords that are working really well for your ASO, which are improving your rankings and getting more installs for you on ASO side, they can again be used on the Apple search ads front of it. You can start bidding on those keywords and drive more conversions there as well. Now, in terms of tools that are coming up and that are really exciting, some of the things that we've built out on Newton, right? That is pretty exciting. One, starting off with Optics AI, that is on custom product pages, which I covered earlier, which again enables you to create custom product pages in a Flash. The second is in terms of the rule-based automation. Now, rule-based automation on Apple Search Ads, we've always believed that full automation on Apple Search Ads removes a certain angle to it. So we always had a little bit of manual intervention coming into picture. But with rule-based automation, you can actually set now, for example, you want to set a CAC-based target. Once you've set that CAC target, the platform auto-optimizes the bids, auto-optimizes the campaigns to ensure that the CAC target is being met and you're not exceeding that CAC as well, right? So that is something that's pretty exciting. Optics AI is very exciting because there's always a dependency on creative teams to get back with custom product pages, and at times advertisers struggle with that. Creative teams take their own sweet time at times to come back with the custom product pages, and given the volume that they have to deliver as well, right? With Optics AI, the time is reduced. You can actually start delivering in a very short span of time. And like I said, the last thing, Telescope, which gives you a unified picture, right, of how everything is performing end to end. Uh, I don't think there's any other platform that gives you such a detailed report as to how you can actually understand how your campaigns are performing. And basically, once you have more data on your hands, it becomes very easy to understand what is working, what is not working, and then focus on things that are working. Given that, again, you have very few levers on Apple Search Ads and App Store optimization to work with, right?
Definitely, Prashant. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing. And my last question is a common question for both Sudhanshu and Aman, right? Sudhanshu, for you, from a fintech marketer's lens, how do you plan to stay competitive and relevant, um, with the evolving privacy norms? And what are the advice you would give for marketers who are just starting to navigate the complexities of iOS user acquisition?
Yeah. So, as we look towards 25 and beyond, the future of iOS strategy, especially for fintech marketers in India, it shaped by evolving privacy norms. increasing user expectations and growing need of data-driven personalizations. So staying competitive in personal data protection bill. Fintech marketers need to focus on the. I think fintech marketers specifically need to focus on the privacy first strategy, which include first party data, which focus on collecting data directly from the user through clear opt-in method, build trust with transparency around their data is used, and second is machine learning and AI. So use AI to offer personalized experience while minimizing data collection, ensuring with stay compliant with privacy rules. And the third is data security. So I think fintechs invest in secure data management to protect sensitive financial information, making sure user feels safe. Apart from this, the user acquisition, if I talk about, so it's a like one thing is ASA, which is the best way to acquire new users. And second is the ASO, which try to rank high with the keyword optimization through descriptions and appealing visuals and positive reviews. Uh, the third is again the first party data, which build the data strategy early by offering value in exchange for user data, such as personalized financial tips. Focus on retention and then test and optimize your creatives and A/B test your campaigns on different keywords. And yeah, the most important is stay agile, because iOS ecosystem is constantly changing. So ready to adapt new privacy norms, guidelines, and user expectations.
Wonderful, Sudhanshu. Quite insightful indeed. And Aman, from your perspective, how do you plan to stay competitive in the gaming vertical with all the evolving privacy norms? And what would be your advice to marketers who are just starting to navigate the complexities of iOS user acquisition?
First of all, we should definitely be adaptable to the change that we are seeing on iOS, right? Like it's the future that's definitely going to be there. I think it's a very good playground to play so that even in Android, when we move to a world where it's cookieless, we will be able to adapt it better. We'll have the learning from iOS and be at a better pace at what we are currently, right? So first thing that I feel, it's best to invest in first party data, creative excellence, and also for gaming, coupon codes and plays a very different role, right? Like we also give coupon codes inventory where we show offers to users, and that user uses at the end of the funnel as well. So that data is very important for us, because we are able to navigate that user better. We know the quality, like where this users is also coming. Like for example, on different channels, we can use a different coupon code inventories, right? Like we coupon codes to that user, so we know what is the incremental volumes we are getting. So it's very important to be very creative as well, and think in a fashion. How do you get that data from the user? How do you also follow the privacy norms as well? So that's very key. And apart from this, creative plays a very big role for us, right? Being in the gaming industry, that I've seen that it's all about what the user get for the amount X amount that he puts on the platform, right? Its end goal for the user is to drive maybe a better ROI out of him for his own purchase that he have done. So it's very important. Yeah. Apart from that, the thing that I feel we should definitely leverage creative strategies with a mix of what probabilistic attribution. Definitely a mix of that will definitely do great. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. No, makes a lot of sense. And I think we have one question that has come up from Saket. So it's open. Anyone open question. Anyone can answer this. How important is it for marketers to adopt AI-driven strategies for ASA? And can you share examples of how AI has helped scale campaigns effectively?
Can I take it up, Santal?
Yes, Prashant, please.
Right. Thanks, Akit, for bringing this up. So see, there's so much that you can do manually, right? After which automation is definitely needed, right? And which is where AI comes into picture, right? The world is moving towards AI. I think AI is one of the things that can actually help bring in more insights, do things that will take us a lot of time to do, automate a lot of tasks, also get in more insights, get in more data for us to make informed decisions ultimately in the end. Right. There's a few things that we've done on Newton that has actually helped certain advertisers scale specifically to drive lower funnel conversions. We've built in certain automations in place, specifically on the rule-based automation that has helped one particular advertiser drive more scale on non-brand. Now, brand is something that anyone can actually run campaigns for. They can get scale, but ultimately it leads to organic hijacking. But the challenge that comes on Apple Search Ads is driving scale on non-brand, which is where this particular feature came into use actually for us. Right. We implemented this particular rule-based automation. We try to identify what are the top performing keywords. The platform then auto-optimize, keeping the end CAC in check, auto-optimizing the bids, auto-optimizing the impression shares, everything to ensure that we were able to deliver a month-on-month growth for that particular advertiser within India.
Makes sense, Prashant. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prashant. I think, yeah, we are right on time. And indeed, an hour flew by really, really fast, and a lot of information and wealth of knowledge shared by all of you. So thanks a lot. And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all the attendees for taking the time to join today's webinar. It was a pleasure hosting all of you today. And with this, we'll call it a wrap. And I personally look forward to connecting with all of you very soon again. Thank you, everyone.